Greetings, Earthling. Greetings, Earthling. I come in peace. I come in peace. My name is Elle, and I'm here to help you to focus. Very good. Down here. Focus. Focus up here. Focus. Focus on your soul aesthetic. Your soul aesthetic. The goal of my ASMR videos is always to help you rest, reset, and connect, rest, reset, and connect with me, and with each other down below in the comments section. This community is a safe space for everyone, and I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time and for clicking on this video. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Join us, Earthling. We come in peace, and we would love to have you. Today's video is a what I got for my birthday haul. What I got for my birthday 2 days ago. Tell me happy belated birthday. No, I'm kidding. My birthday was February 9th, and I really wanted to film this on my birthday for you, or the day before, but ended up snagging a few things on my birthday while we were out and about. Thomas and I just spent like a half day together off of work. Honestly, slept in till like 10 o'clock, and then worked for a couple hours, and then did a late lunch at 2 p.m. at this really cool place in Charlotte called Sea Level. It's a seafood restaurant, and they do a $1.50 oyster happy hour that's from like 2 to 4, it started at 2, so I was like, that's when we'll get lunch, because I want all of the seafood. And they had oyster shooters, like we were doing shots with, it was kind of like a pickleback with pickle juice, vodka, and oysters in the bottom, and like hot sauce and stuff. And of course we got like oysters on the half shell, and my like lunch, like my main course was a lobster roll, which I love. And I get it confused, like which one's Maine style and which one's Connecticut style, but I like them cold. It was like the mayonnaise and dill or whatever, like lettuce and that sort of thing. I think Maine is chilled and Connecticut is warm with butter style of lobster rolls. So, chilled please for me. And we got really yummy cocktails, and it was the rules, but not really when you're like in the middle of your city having like a nice late afternoon lunch on a work day. But it's important to take some time and celebrate yourself, and we planned to do this a couple months ago, so all of that to say, yeah, I didn't have time to film. It was just like we slept in late, I got in some work, we went to lunch, and then we went to grab some ice cream and stopped into Whole Foods. I got a couple of things from Whole Foods, and then we stopped into like the nice Target in the middle of Uptown. So I got like a little Target mini haul, a little Whole Foods mini haul, and then some things that I got at Walmart, the mall, and on Amazon. You know, like when Thomas and I were out, and it was the days or like weekend before my birthday, you know, and I was like, I want this. So my main birthday present that I'm excited to tell you guys about was that we paid off a credit card that I had. I'm very, very proud of us. We are slowly but surely making progress towards our goal this year of buying our first home. I still have other credit cards to pay down and pay off. So does Thomas, and to that I say, which you already know, don't ever get a credit card. Don't do it. Unless it's like one with airline miles or something like that. It's literally a scam. And nobody really benefits from it on your side of things. Like, you guys, we'll get into the noise and like my lack of filming shortly, but go ahead and like say your goodbyes to this little guy. He's done. He's dead. He died. What do we say, honey? Rip. That's right. Rip. I don't know what you want me to do. I will be ordering 2 new projectors this weekend. Now, I think it's my fault that these have run out as fast as they did. And when I tell you my theory, you're gonna be like, yeah, bitch, that's definitely what happened. Like, it's no questions. That's for certain. It's your fault and that's what happened. But you just expect a lot when I make a purchase, you know. I purchased this UFO projector light from Amazon, and this UFO projector light from Amazon. This one looks way more like a UFO to me. It's like super cute. It's a little dusty, but so you guys know this is our guest bedroom slash filming room, and if I could confess, I messed up, and I'm sorry. Thank you still around. I have to tell you something about Fall Out Boy too. Okay, I leave all this shit on forever and ever, amen. Like, I leave it plugged in. I know, so it is probably my fault. But like, yeah, I mean, I can't be bothered. Like, I'm just one earthling, okay? Like, every time I go to film, which do I have to do, like, hair, makeup, and all this shit? No, but I want to do it to the max, and like what makes me feel good, and what will comfort you and make you feel good, and it would literally add minutes and time and stress to constantly be like, this is 2 different string lights, so I'd have to unplug those. I know what you're thinking, girl. It's like this. But unplug these as well, and like one's in an outlet over here, and then one's in an outlet, like goes behind this cabinet here, and it's just, I know, I sound stupid, but that's fine, I am, so, goodbye to these little babies. I'll order us more, and maybe I'll unplug them daily. But like, there's times I come in here to like, I was gonna say meditate, but that would just be an utter lie. Like, to just chill for a second and like be in the vibes of this room and relax, or like have a little moment. Maybe I'm gonna take a nap, but then the anxiety hits and I'm like, oh, gotta go do something. But I want, when I open this door to this room, for it to be like a spaceship or like another world, or just I expect to see the galaxy lights going, and I look forward to that. Anyways, I don't want to have to come in here and like plug 4 to 6 sets of lights in every time I do. So I don't think that it's like a bad product or something. It's more so, yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. She's weird. She's an Aquarius. If you're wondering, yes, I'm an Aquarius. Yes. I'm 33. I'm 33 now. And I'm very excited. I feel like maybe it'll be my best year yet. I'm just happy to still be here, honey, okay? You're 30s, you're still a baby, and you don't know shit. So, if you think it's old, don't worry, it's not. I think my main hope as I approach my mid-30s is to really continue fully becoming myself that I'm meant to be. And by that, I mean, why is my eye twitching? Your 20s, you're still, I don't know how to explain it. You're still like being exposed to the world, and like it's kind of like all of these things are like coming at you, and you can take them or leave them, or to take them and do something with them. It's like, you know, like worldviews and politics and religion, and like becoming an adult in the sense that you have to figure out balancing budgets and paying bills, and how friendships change once you're out of school, and like all this, like, and really becoming your own person from your family, and that's just, honestly, like, my 20s were really hard. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's really a time of like overcoming one thing after the other, and trying your best to like get up onto a life raft almost of like where to even begin of figuring yourself out, and also dealing with things from the decade before in your childhood. So my late 20s, I think I was 29, 28 is when I started therapy. I wish I would have started it in my mid-20s, but very possible. And I'm not saying this is how any and all mid-20-year-olds are. This is how I was. But I very well could have like gotten up and walked out and been like, you're a dumb bitch or something. Like, I don't know how that would have gone, but it doesn't matter, because like, it is what it is. I guess what I'm trying to say is I've done a lot of work over the past 3 years in therapy, both on myself, communication, my relationship, and like working on my anxious attachment style, anxiety and depression, and also PTSD with EMDR therapy. And I can't recommend therapy enough. Like, I really can't. And I still have long ways to go with things, dealing with grieving my dad and my relationship with my mom. But I really yeah, like it's hard to explain because we're all like souls in a skeleton. I don't know. It's weird, but I've always heard, and people have always like seconded and agreed that your 40s is really a time when you will like truly be living, in the sense that you won't give a fuck what anybody thinks about you, don't need validation from others, and you're sort of like actualized in who and what you are. And I can definitely see that. Like, I know that by the time I'm in my 40s, I'm gonna be I was gonna say an even badder bitch than I am now, but I don't feel like I'm a bad bitch. I feel like a bad bitch like one day a month. So I can definitely feel that on the horizon for myself, and I like move more towards being secure in myself and like managing my thoughts and like life and all these things more and more each day. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I know we're all different ages, and if you have anything that you want to share with me or any advice down below about your age, or like what you learned at 33 or have learned before or since, or anything like that, I would truly love to connect with you. All I can really say is my 30s has shown me the importance of setting boundaries and being your own person outside your family. Like, it truly, ultimately it'll depend on your upbringing and your family, but it can be very, very hard to untangle yourself from like the things that are instilled in you in your upbringing. So I was, for example, like very much put into, like sports I didn't necessarily want to be doing, or like essay competitions, or just all kinds of different things that I knew if I like played that part and excelled in those things, it would impress my parents, and they would very much like, the vibes are all good and right, and like basically achievement based connection with my parents. It was always around like, what's the next extracurricular activity or activity that can propel your future forward in a positive way, or like school assignments, extracurricular school stuff outside of school, like cotillion and etiquette and ballet and piano and horseback, like all this stuff. And just saying it, like, I feel like a snob, right? Because those are all very lovely things that any kid would be lucky to do, and truly, could have grown up in the system or without parents. Just, there's, like, I'm not trying to say, like, oh, poor little rich girl, but I really have learned through therapy that two things can be true. So if I could impart on you, I guess, what I've really understood in my journey on this planet, because I truly just think that we're here, like, my overall life philosophy is that we're truly just here to love and be kind to others and connect with people, and it's not always easy to do, right? Like, you could set out into the world one day totally determined, like, you're gonna have empathy for people, connect, and it's gonna be an amazing day, and then like, a million things can go wrong, and we have egos and pain, and we're just people, and before you know it, you're like flipping every person off that you're driving past or something. Or is that just me? But I think if I could impart on you, you didn't ask for this, but the one thing I've learned my 33rd year of life is if it's hard for you to be in tune with yourself, like if you feel separated from yourself in the sense that it's hard for you to self-care, to take care of yourself, and you feel exhausted from trying to, accomplish and impress people at work and think about other people and plan your life for other people and stuff like that, that can be an indication of the remnants of the dynamics with your parents growing up in that relationship, in the sense that maybe, you constantly felt like you had to perform or like be successful and achieve things and like be a certain way. And two things can be true at the same time. You can be impacted by that 10, 15, 20 years later in your life, and it can also be true at the very same time that you were very privileged and had a beautiful, beautiful roof over your head and all of these lovely, things that you were exposed to and took lessons in and got to learn and got to do. There are things that it's like I got to have a horse. My parents got me a horse when I was 7. They did listen to me and knew that I loved that, and it enriched my life truly. Like, I was a horse girl, and it's so much a part of me. But then they also made me sell the horse when I didn't want to, and I felt like I had no choice or autonomy in that situation. And I felt like, why would you make me do this for a decade and then just take it all away from me? Like, there were things that's like, if it didn't fit the mold, or like if I wasn't doing it to their expectations or enough, or like this and that, there were a lot of things that also hurt me. And so I've learned to set boundaries, and the whole two things can be true, which just means don't invalidate your experience. Listen to yourself and keep in mind that, you can have very strict parents that expect a lot of you, that don't necessarily validate your feelings when you share them, and that create that love relationship to be about like, how's work going, how's school, how did this go, did you win this, like blah blah blah, while also being parents that would like utterly die for you and give you the world. That those two things can be true, and that can still fuck you up. And the hardest thing about those two things that I've learned is the relationship with your parents. And again, depending on how you're raised, depending on your circumstances, not everyone is lucky enough to, or maybe it's luckier that they're not, but like to know their parents. And I'm trying to let you guys know I'm thinking about that stuff, and I have empathy for that as well. But I'm just saying, in my situation, I was raised to like be completely enamored by my parents, and especially my dad, and to sort of like worship my mom and dad. And when I look back at old cards that I made them in preschool and kindergarten and elementary school and high school and all this stuff, it was very much like idol worship. Like, it was, and it's very sweet. And it just kind of also went along with, they expected my politics and my religion to be the same as theirs my whole life, and to kind of never stray away from what was instilled with all of that. And anyway, I don't even fully know what, like, if what I'm saying is translating, or if it's just like pieces and bits of consciousness. But that's where I am, and there's some days I cry all day because I wish my relationships with friends or my mom, or, you know, I just wish certain things were different, and all I can do is share that and, like, communicate and share needs and hear the needs of others. And if you, or if I am doing that and that's not received or accepted or, you know, listened to, I'm currently basically in the process of like taking care of the child's version of Elle, like a former me, so that she can feel validated in her emotions instead of like constantly unsure of the world around her, and of like, did this thought I have that says I'm not good enough, is that real? No, you probably feel that way because in the past XYZ would have happened and that would have upset someone, and it would very much, like, the world around you and like your reality, it would feel like you weren't good enough, but objectively not true. And we have to break the cycle of those thoughts even popping up. So that is where I am, and that is what I've learned. You probably didn't want like a therapy session or to look at my broken projectors, so let's get into the damn haul, bestie. We'll start with this little cutie I'm very excited about. It is a wireless microphone that I got on Amazon, and I'm gonna do a whole video where we try it out. And I wanted to show you how cute it is. Can she do it? Okay. It's pink. Yeah, I know. So I think this is going to be so exciting and cute to use for a video. It's like a little pink baby mic. A little tiny mic. A little tiny mic. And it looks like this. I can't wait to do a video where I'm like in my little tiny mic. So let's go ahead and put the instructions back in it so we don't mess it up. This was really cheap on Amazon, so I actually ordered it a couple weeks ago, and when I did, I was like, why not? It's my birthday. So I included it in this haul, but I don't know. It's probably just more of like an Amazon haul item. And this is called Pink Wireless Lavalier Microphone. No need app Bluetooth. If you want to search for it on Amazon. And then a few other items I got on Amazon are books, and this really cool book journal, like a reading journal that I'm so excited to show you. But the first book, these are kind of like just because Valentine's stuff as well, but really I'm telling you, like, the big thing, and all I wanted was to pay off at least one of my credit cards, so that's a huge gift in and of itself to us and to our future. And this is called like on Book Talk and in Target, and I just decided to go for it. It says, then 20-something writer Jenny Horowitz is stuck. All her former MFA classmates are nabbing high-profile book deals. All she does is churn out puff pieces. Then she's hired to write a profile of a movie star, Gabe Parker, her #1 celebrity crush, and latest James Bond. All Jenny wants us to do is keep her cool and nail the piece. But what comes next proves to be life-changing in ways she never saw coming. As the interview turns into a whirlwind weekend that has the tabloids buzzing, and Jenny gets closer to Gabe than she had planned. Now, 10 years later, after a brutal divorce and a healthy dose of therapy, Jenny is back in Los Angeles with the career of her dreams as a successful writer. Except that no matter what new essay collection or online editorial she's promoting, someone always asks about the profile. It always comes back to Gabe. So when his PR team requests that they reunite for a second interview, she wants to say no. She wants to pretend that she's forgotten about the time they spent together, but the truth is that Jenny wants to know if those 72 hours were as memorable to Gabe as they were to her. And so she says yes. Alternating between Jenny and Gabe's first meeting and their reunion a decade later, this deliciously irresistible novel will have you hanging on until the last word. So it's about a journalist and an actor sort of switching back and forth from the past and the present perspective. Will they, won't they? And I do have to say, I love that sort of style of writing. Like, I really love when it's kind of back and forth, past, present, and you're a little bit like, what's gonna happen? Wait. I just feel like it allows for so many more twists. And that's kind of what Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney did, and that was my favorite book of 2022. I haven't read a book like that has blown my mind in years, and I've mostly read like law books and stuff too, so take that with a grain of salt, but yeah, funny you should ask. And another little cutie romance one. It's just so pretty. Like, look at the cover. It's called X's and O's. And this is Laugh Out Loud, Ardently Feminist. You know I bought it. This one says, it's a romance novel-obsessed social media influencer revisits her exes on her hunt for true love. Romantic comedy. So, romance book connoisseur Tara Jen has had her heart broken 10 times by 10 different men, all of whom dumped her because of her stage 5 clinker tendencies. Why is this triggering me? Nevertheless, Tara is determined to find the one. The only problem, classic meet cutes are dead thanks to modern dating apps, so Tara decides to revisit her exes in hopes of securing her very own trope-worthy second chance romance. Boston firefighter Trevor Metcalf will be the first to rush into a burning building, but the last to rush into a relationship. Love just isn't his thing. Gag me with a spoon, okay? Like, that's not cute. Don't be like that. When his new roommate, Tara, so they're roommates, enlists him to help her reconnect with her exes, he reluctantly agrees. Why would he agree? But Tara's journey is leading him to discover his own new chapter, where maybe he would both fight fires in burning buildings and also be in a relationship. one of those seems much more intimidating to me than the other, but I guess it depends on the day. The more time they spend together, the more Tara realizes Trevor seems to be the only one who appreciates her authentic, dramatic self. To claim they're happily ever after, can Tara and Trevor read between the lines of their growing connection? Can they do it? Can they read between the lines? He can literally save people from burning buildings, so I hope so. We'll see. I think this one will like annoy me a little bit. That she's like, let me like try to redate all of my exes because the world could end and I would never. But we'll see. We'll see if it pisses me off, and if I finish it, and I'll keep you posted. These two books came highly recommended from Haley Barber. I love her YouTube channel. Check her out. I've mentioned her in a couple of videos before. If you love book hauls and book recommendations. She also recommended this reading journal by Kunitsuko from Amazon. And this is actually the one she used last year. And she's using, I think, a more condensed version with a different texture finish. It's more of like a fabric than a faux leather. But yeah, same company, same basic idea. And this is just the Kunitsuko, Kunitsa Go Blush Reading Journal. And I wanted to show you how cute and sweet and precious it is. It feels so nice. I hope this will not be offensive to anybody because I mean it with like reverence, because it used to be my religion, but this reminds me of like a really nice gift Christian Bible, like that sort of feeling. Like I saw one at Sam's Club last night and I was like, I want that. Like I want to buy that so bad, but purely just to like touch and like open the spine. And, ooh, it's like so high quality. Credit where credit is due. This kind of reminds me of like a devotional or Bible. Like that's really, really nice quality. Kind of like there's a hawk in my yard. I have to go help the birds. I used to have a Precious Moments Bible that was so white, like almost like a pearlescent pinkish white. And yeah, the leather felt so good on it. This is how that feels. And it does say the reading journal in gold on the front. How pretty is that? And then the back has the brand name. And the inside is just so cute. Haley has a full video because I think she worked with the brand, or she has an affiliate. Yeah, she did. She worked with them. So go check out her video, of course, and support her because I learned about it from her. But it says, reading is a way for me to expand my mind, open my eyes, and fill up my heart. Oprah Winfrey. There's an index. Do like a table of contents. There's a actual table of contents for the rest of the book. Got a daily reading tracker. A list of books to read. A meter that you can complete. I love these. They're so 90s. I wish it was like the little temperature thermometer thingy. But yeah, books to read. And then there's a finished section where you can give like a star rating and color in your progress. There's a favorites section where you can list your favorites. And just like a book's borrowed list of the date that they were borrowed and who borrowed them. Did not finish. Why? Just really cute. please use this elle. It's so cute and you like it so much, and then it'll like get time for you to fill it out and you'll be like, I don't want to mess it up, and you'll like be really weird and be scared to use it. Don't do that. Okay. Thank you. And then the very last book that I ordered from Amazon is because of you guys. You recommended The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And this was recommended to me a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And I just can't thank you enough. I haven't started reading it yet, but I'm really, really excited. You said that it changed your life, bestie. So, very, very hopeful that this will help me with like my thoughts and my thought paths and mental health, the type of stuff. This says, to make the journey into the power of now, we will need to leave our analytical mind and its false created self, the ego, behind. That's literally what I took like 30 minutes to try to explain that I was trying to do at the beginning of this video. From the very first page of this extraordinary book, we move rapidly into a significantly higher altitude where we breathe a lighter air. We become connected to the indestructible essence of our being, the eternal, ever-present, one life beyond the myriad forms of life that are subject to birth and death. Although the journey is challenging, Eckhart Tolle uses simple language and an easy question and answer format to guide us. A word-of-mouth phenomenon since its first publication, this is one of those rare books with the power to create an experience in readers, one that can radically change their lives for the better. Okay, let's just open to like a random page. Like, so excited. Let's do, is there a 188? The happiness that is derived from some secondary source is never very deep. It is only a pale reflection of the joy of being, the vibrant peace that you find within as you enter the state of non-resistance. Being takes you beyond the polar opposites of the mind and frees you from dependency on form. Even if everything were to collapse and crumble all around you, you would still feel a deep inner core of peace. You may not be happy, but you will be at peace. That's what I've moved towards through therapy, but it takes so much practice and patience with yourself to actually like get to that point. I have chills. Oh my god. I don't know if they'll pick up on camera, but I have goosebumps. So thank you for the recommendation. I really appreciate it. Next up, I wanted to show you how thoughtful and cute this was of Thomas. He knows I love piggies and cows, so he snagged me this cute little piggy, I think at Harris Teeter, which is going to have a lot of the same stuff as Kroger and Kohl's sometimes. So, and someone asked where this little rainbow bunny is. I did comment back, but just in case anybody else is interested, like $14 or $19.99 at Harris Teeter last spring, Easterish time, and I love your guys' comments so much. But yeah, it was like, I remember grabbing it and being like, this is some bullshit, like who does peeps think they are, but this is like cute and I don't know if I'll find something similar. So I did look it up, and you can get this at Kohl's right now, Kohl's.com. Just Google rainbow bunny peeps plushie or blush. This little pig is just like from the grocery store plushie section, and I think it's so cute and springy. And I thought this was so sweet. He went ahead and got me this as well because it's mint. It's mint green. And I mean, it's like no offense to elephants. Oh my god. I was really about to be like, no offense to elephants. Like, they're not that cute. I don't think I have any plushies of them. Oh my god. Am I not embarrassed? Am I not embarrassed? How cute is this sweet baby? You're so cute. And I actually do really like elephants. Okay. This is my IKEA elephant. That's kind of like a pillow. And it is very like a floppy. And just so cute. Such a vibe. Literally 5 inches away from me, if that. But I don't know. Something about this elephant pisses me off. And I will never tell Thomas that. I'll take it to my grave. And I will love him. And I will go ahead and then take the tag off of him. He's my baby now. But it's like, I don't know. It's pink and mint, which I absolutely love. And he is cute, okay? I don't know. Something about his trunk. It's pissing me off. I think Thomas brought those home when he grabbed something from the grocery store for us. But I just remember, like, he sent me a picture of them in the, like, kids section of the shopping cart and was like, and I was like, love, the piggy is so cute. And then he brought home both of them, and just very sweet. Another kind of random purchase. We were at this like almost dead mall. Like, it's a mall that half of it is like not in working order and doesn't have AC, and just all these issues on one side of it. Like, the Sears doesn't exist anymore. It's like haunted on that side, but then the other side is like still fully going, and there's quite a bit of people there. The food court was popping, and it was, you know, it's a little bit farther away, so we don't go to it often, but it's like an original 90s mall. And anyways, they have a shoe show, and I saw this, and I was like, you're coming home with me. So cute. It's by a London Fog. It opens right there. And it was $29.99. Allegedly, MSRP $78. Don't lie, okay? Don't lie to my face. It just has the L and an F. L, F. And it's sort of like a dark brown, chocolate brown, and brick khaki cream vibe. I just love it. I wish you could touch these because they feel like Dollar Tree plastic. This part is, I think, metal, but these 4 chain links are very lightweight, almost hollow feeling. But I just think it's so cute. They also had a cream one, and I ended up going with the brown. And how I know that was a good choice for me is I haven't thought about obsessively the cream one since. So we did the brown one. You guys, there are lots of airplanes today. It's a Saturday afternoon, early evening. There are lots of noises in the neighborhood and wait hours, which is fine. I got some work done, but I had to wait hours past when I wanted to start filming for you because I thought there's no way that they'll be doing the construction project. Go back a few videos and look for the one called Let's Catch Up if you want to know. Like, if you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, basically they're building an apartment complex. Literally stormy. It starts at my fence line. They've started tearing down the trees. It broke my heart. And yeah, that's the tea. But anyways, I thought there's no way that they're going to be working on the weekend. But it rained so much this week that they only got 1 day of work done. And that's not because I'm doing spells at all related to rain. But they did only get 1 day of work done, and it was only a few hours. What did they do? They came out, bestie, today, literally as I started doing my makeup, and that's how I know I am somebody's sim. Okay? I know that I am. Like, I'm a sim. Somebody's playing me. And the jig is up. Like, it's too predictable at this point for me to be like, finally the weekend. Finally I can catch up on filming. Like, go to the bathroom and like get some moisturizer and start rubbing it on my face. And it's like, beep, beep, beep. Like, do not play with me. That is... I'm not a main character. My life is not a movie. So what in the actual fuck? Like, what is the explanation? Everything can't be a coincidence. But yeah. There's been a huge lack of videos from me. This next item, I wouldn't even really call like part of my birthday, but I did buy it on my birthday when we popped into Target, and it's just a new native deodorant scent, and it's called Candy Shop Strawberry and Vanilla Taffy scented, and it smells so good. Oh my gosh, it smells freaking amazing. And it's got this little like heart imprinted on it in the middle. Very cute. But yeah, you guys, I wanted to just apologize. I know that you are very understanding and aren't expecting or needing that. But I do just hate to not have a schedule and to not have like a certain 3 days a week that you can depend on. And to not have my Patreon or my P.O. box done yet. And we really just wanted to, of course, share that I had a good B-day and share like some things that I snagged, but ultimately share that life has just been really crazy. And not in a good way, really. Even on days when they're not doing construction due to the rain, the day gets consumed with work, and any free moments go to like stressful things or therapy, basically. And I'm just really trying to take care of myself, and I know that if I do that, then everything else can fall into place and I can find a routine and some balance. But if I'm, you know, having a tough day, grieving, whatever it may be, I just am never gonna fake it with you and film just to get like 30 cents of ad revenue, which is literally what my skippable ads at the beginning of the videos end up generating between 30 cents and $2-ish a video. I know you guys know that YouTube isn't like, it's, you could get millions of views and it's not going to pay the bills. But I can't, like, I don't ever feel like, ooh, let me get a video out there to see, like, how many views and comments or something I get, or, like, to do it for me or for clout or something. It's purely to share, connect, and, like, be there with you. And yeah, I just want it to be the best possible, and to feel like I have the strength to talk with you, for example, about some of the stuff that I've touched on in this video. There hasn't been a day prior to today that I feel like I can really sit down in front of the camera and be like, okay, this is where I am with life and what all's going on. And yeah, when we were out on Thursday on my birthday, we did pop into the Uptown Target, which is on a Metropolitan Avenue and very fancy, and like always just looks like a Target showroom, to be honest, like a corporate practice Target or something. And they just always have more sizes and more stock of stuff than the one where I live, which is the university area, like the college area. So, got this cute little bralette, and it's from the brand Colsey, and it was $13. And it kind of looks velvet, but it's not. It's like that sheer, glittery, what is that fabric called? It just says pink on the tag. Pink L3048 bra. But yeah, I like this color, if you didn't know. I know, like the only girl that likes blush pink. I'm so different. And the other item I got from Target was, man, when you collect plushies, it's really hard because you can Google, and I would recommend that you do, but like sometimes you see a plushie, if you're a collector like me, if you're 33 and you don't collect plushies, that's fine. That's probably the default, and that's okay. We all have our things that we like and that make us happy. But sometimes I just see something and I'm like, I know in my gut and in my soul that I need to go ahead and get it because I don't think I'll find another thing like it. And so most of the time I will stand there and like hold it and Google and see if I can find like sparkly tinsel lavender teddy bear with opal paws and nose. And this I didn't even Google because I knew I probably couldn't find anything just like it, but it's got silver eyes and like opal little paw pads, not on here, just on the feet. And then the nose is like an opal, it's just, and the eyes are silver, and it's got tinsel throughout it, and it's called an FAO Schwartz Sparkler. All that glitters is good. Hire me because we'll fix that. All that glitters is good. Because gold was taken. All that glitters is not gold. All that glitters is good. I mean, there's just so many better taglines. Like, look at this fucking purple lilac bear. LOL. Would have been better, but how cute. It's kind of little, but I would be sad without you if I didn't bring you home, so I did. Yeah. And I think it was like $14.99. FAO Schwartz is like some bougie toy company that thinks it's the best, and it is really cute stuff, super cute stuff. But but its flagship store is in New York, and it's got like big nutcrackers out front, and it's been in tons of American movies, the most notable probably being Home Alone. Number 2, Home Alone 2. Home Alone Lost in New York with Macaulay Culkin. This Thomas brought home for me the day before my birthday, and I bet you can guess what it is by the sound. It's one of the new spring Starbucks cups, and it's like the perfect highlighter yellow. It honestly kind of looks sunny, like a sunshiny yellow, but when I compare it to the sunflowers on camera, that's sort of the contrast I'm looking for in like my hair. This is very much like highlighter yellow, and so pretty and springy and bright. So I just wanted to again apologize. You guys are gonna hear airplanes, cars driving by. I guess my neighbor hammering something in the yard. There's a dog barking in the distance. And I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. You're not gonna get another new video for a while if this bothers you. So I know you guys have said multiple times, you've reassured me to that you like ambience, and like real sounds. So I appreciate you guys understanding, and if it does bother you, I get it. Like, it really depends on the sound for me if it bothers me, but I totally understand if you ever need to click out or like take a break from the channel or anything like that. You just need to do what's best for you and your ASMR slash connecting online, getting good vibes experience. So please know that if there was anything I could do to reduce all of that, I would, but it does take hours to film as it is around bigger noises. So I really can't thank you guys enough for still being here despite all the stuff that's going on. Okay, now this Thomas brought me on my actual birthday. We had slept in and he went to go get a Starbucks, and it is part of the piggy and elephant family. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but he likes to get me these. So I think they're really cute and sweet. He came in the door of our house. He like ran out for us, and he had it like sticking out of his shirt, out of his coat. Like his puffer coat was zipped up. He like came in like it was a baby in a baby carrier. Gave me the drinks, gave me this. It's a little calico kitty, and it's just so cute. It has the same smile and eyes, and it doesn't have any spots anywhere, just the ears. But I did have a calico cat growing up. Well, I was in college, but you're still growing up then. I'm still growing up now. I really am that anxious girl that just wants you to be happy. I was like, thanks for understanding. I'm so sorry. Like, it's just too many noises to film around. And I literally do every time a plane flies over. I like have to pause. I can't stand it. But also potentially have undiagnosed ADHD. I don't know. So, definitely not trying to self-diagnose or be a doctor or anything like that. But yeah, it's like all I can think about till it's gone. That's probably just me being a bitch. So, this is my little cutie kitty. What? Please. we should name the pig and the elephant and the kitty. This is like an off-brand or new brand of like squishy plushie that I've never seen before. And they do not come with names or anything like that. But this kitty does remind me of Audrey, my calico cat that I had in college, named after Audrey Hepburn. Okay, if you're still watching, this is when we're gonna get into the tea of my life. And it's strong. Okay, there's no cream or sugar. What am I saying? Like, why do I fucking accept? You're gonna have to take it back raw. I really don't know what I was saying. And I do apologize. Like, I can't, the way my mind works. This, Thomas and I got last weekend at a place called Total Wine and More here in Charlotte. They're everywhere. It's a giant chain that's super popular. Everything there's overpriced and stupid, but also really cool. And like, if you're looking for an obscure German malt beer, the Obi brand, like we were, for example, you can find Obi beer there. So that's what we went for, a 6-pack of Obi. I got a 6-pack of pineapple cider that I've really been enjoying. I think it was by Cider Boys. And I saw this rosé cup that you can put in the freezer. And it has this like gooey gel in it that obviously freezes and keeps your wine cold. Cools your wine for hours. It's called the Rosé Freeze Cup. I think that's what it'll look like once frozen. It says, ideal for white wines. A frozen cup will keep your wine between 43 to 53 Fahrenheit. Ideal for red wines. A refrigerated cup will keep your wine between 58 to 62 Fahrenheit. Okay. I like a warm red wine, I'm not gonna lie. Probably because Tom's German and we really like Glühwein, which is like a heated malt spice wine. But I also like can open a red room temp, and I think that's how it should taste to me, not to the world or objectively or like for science, for it to aerate or whatever and all that bullshit. It's just for me. We love a room temp red wine. It could be probably left in your car trunk and I'll love it. Wait, do I have a problem? No. I have like one drink 3 times a week, so. And I had 2 cocktails on my birthday, so. No, I'm just joking, and I'm not trying to make a poor joke or joke about something serious, but that for a minute sounded questionable. I could find a bottle of red wine down in the river, down at the local dump, and I'll break it off over my kneecap. It's really what that was starting to sound like. You ever left a bottle of Welch's grape juice in the sun? It's the best wine money can't buy. Like, I need to calm down. I don't know what to tell you. Not everyone will get my sense of humor. Only I will ever understand it, because fucking Aquarius. I think Aquarians are the most rare star sign. And it should stay that way. No, I'm kidding. Okay, anyways, this cup I saw like as we were getting in the checkout line last Sunday. And the reason we got those little 6-packs each, and why I was like, well, my birthday's coming up, I'll go ahead and throw this in. Honey, it's because we thought the Super Bowl was last Sunday. That is how overworked doing the damn best we can to stay afloat and all of this stuff. We actually are and feel. We're so like dead to certain aspects of the world that we genuinely thought it was last Saturday. And you're like, could you not have just Googled it? Sure, totally. But we're both attorneys, and sometimes we think we know things. And this was one of those times. Where's my lip gloss? Bestie, I need some lip gloss. These tiny little lips are starting to disappear. So yeah, how funny and quirky and cute is that we were like, I guess we'll just like chill and play video games, and then around like 10 or 11 o'clock we can look up Rihanna's halftime show and watch it after it's already been performed and like posted somewhere. And then we just ended up like not even caring, and I was like, why is the only thing I'm finding on TikTok, this was last Sunday night, which was like the 6th, I think. Anyway, we were a whole weekend early, and I'm like scrolling through TikTok, and I'm like, why is the only thing I'm seeing when I search Rihanna's Super Bowl performance, people are doing like predictions of how she's gonna come out and what song she's gonna start with, and it's like, they're like, where have you been all my life? And it's like, why is that all I'm seeing? The next day, I was like, I wonder if my prediction was right. I was like, I want to see who won. Go to Google it. Hasn't happened yet. There's no score. And I'm like, why is there no score? And then I Google Super Bowl 2023 date instead of just Super Bowl 2023 for the first time. And that's when I knew I'm living life right, because I don't give a shit about buying into all of that, like groceries, making a million different dips and styles of wings. And I did that for years. And we did that for years and years in college, like buffalo chicken, dip, all of it, Super Bowl parties. Actually, when I was in college, I think it was Papa John's, there was a pizza chain that used to let you, was it like, what did they do? They would let you guess who won the coin flip or something like that. And it was either if you guessed correctly, or if Papa John's as a company like guessed correctly, then you got a free pizza. And so there were like 3 years in a row we got a free pizza delivered to us by like the halftime of the Super Bowl. And we followed the NFL and, you know, all that stuff because our parents did, and so many people around us did. But yeah, I gotta be honest, now that we're out on our own, I have no interest in watching middle-aged men do football. I understand it, and I totally support and am happy for people that are into it. Of course, like it's a sport, it's a pastime. I just kind of am a different person now than 10, 15 years ago, and I really, oh my god, like just stop it. I just genuinely don't have an interest in it, and I still totally understand and know why it's fun. It is just not my thing. But now I'm about to get into a few items. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items from Whole Foods. And then I've got a cinnamon roll plushie that is just like unbelievable. It's truly to die for. And we'll close out the video. So this is really when I want to get into a few things with you that have been going on lately. This first item I've seen a lot on TikTok. This was again from Whole Foods, and it is African not this brand, but like either a bar or bottle of authentic African black soap, saying that it really changed their skin and helped with their acne and all kinds of amazing skin clearing benefits. So when I saw this in the beauty section, I knew I wanted to try it. And it's really cool. It says alafia, a common greeting originating from Togo and Nigeria, meaning a state of peace, health, and well-being. Alafia. But this is like just a plant-based, really well-made soap. So I want to smell it with you. It says it's unscented, and so I'm expecting it'll probably just smell like shea and charcoal, but yeah. Ooh, there's a bubble. I gotta pop it. Yeah, it smells like one of those unscented bars of soap get, from any drugstore or grocery store type of thing. But I'm so excited to give it a try and see if it really clears up my skin the way it did for so many other people. And then this is just, where did you go? My everyday shampoos corresponding conditioner. It says it gives volume and thickness. I typically don't use conditioner in the shower and will use a leave-in conditioner after I get out because my hair is really, really thin. I have 2 strands of hair, 4 on a good day. But this is paraben and phthalate free and all the things that aren't supposed to be in it. It's Whole Foods. But rosemary mint volume and thickness conditioner. It smells so good. Oof, it's very invigorating due to the mint, and rosemary helps with stimulating the scalp and hair growth. Although don't put direct rosemary oil on your hair. You got to mix it in with other stuff. It'll be too harsh. So this is something like this. Really good option. Or mixing it into your hair oil or something like that. Okay, so anyways, guys, where to begin with the real tea? I told you that my dog, Cambria, one of our 3 dogs, Coed and Cambria, named after the band Coed and Cambria, and Rosie, named after Rosie Gamgee, Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings' wife and love interest before that. And then we have our 2 cats, Belle and Beast. We do, yeah, it's a certified petting zoo technically. But Cambria, who is our sweet, sweet girl, has been really sick on and off for months, and we've been really confused on how to treat her because one vet will tell us, oh, you need to, she's got a tooth infection that's really impacting her overall well-being and ability to eat, which is impacting digestion and all kinds of issues. And my dad was a dentist. I know that rotting teeth can impact many other parts of your body and that sort of thing. So at first we did a infected tooth removal surgery where she was given anesthesia and also got her toes filed, her toenails filed, and all this stuff. And I remember at the time agreeing to it, feeling like 20% what do I know, and 80% why is this the solution? Is she really gonna stop having diarrhea because of a tooth that was infected? But I just felt like, look, you dropped out of the nursing program because you were scared of blood. So, like, you really don't know shit about anything. And I just was like, okay, I mean, let's do it. And we haven't been back to that vet since, because not only did they lose record of her having the surgery and lose record of her what was it, like her blood work. She needed to get like an extensive senior blood work panel, and they charged us for it and sent it off. We never heard back. We call a week later to follow up and get the results, and they only sent it off for the basic. We paid for the senior, like, extensive. So all of this stuff, all of these many issues with this vet, which was a long animal hospital on South Boulevard in Charlotte. It's an utter shit show. Don't ever go. We were patients there for 5-6 years, and we just couldn't fucking take it anymore. Because it's constantly dirty, smells. If you have an appointment, you're gonna wait an hour and a half past your appointment time. If you don't, you're gonna wait 8 hours until it goes into another point of the day where they stop becoming a regular business and have an emergency fee and all this other stuff. Like, it's just not a good vet to take your pet to if you live in the Charlotte area. So then, that was July. About August, we took her to Foster Animal Clinic. They also have another location called Foster Animal Hospital in Charlotte, and immediately felt more at home and safer, and like we were getting a better, higher, acceptable level of care there. I know I've gone over this a lot, so to make a very long story short, she was just on and off, better and not better for months, and we think a lot of that had to do with the fact that every time we would go, they would be like, well, let's send her with some metronidazole, let's send her with 7 days of metronidazole, and which is an antibacterial for dogs, that would run out, and then about 4 days after that would run out, her symptoms would be back, the diarrhea. So then we would do 14 days, and then it would be like by 21 days, she was sick again. So this went on and on for a couple months. We started, well, I guess like 2, and then miraculously somehow during December, she was fine. She got off the metronidazole like a week before Christmas, and yeah, she was fine for like 3 or 4 weeks. It was, I don't even know how to explain it to you. And I know you're like, that's a lot of rounds of metronidazole from like August to December. We were doing so many other things. We switched her food to like a really elevated digestive food. Then we switched it to a prescription only, even more expensive, like regulated. You can only buy it with a prescription from your vet behind the counter at PetSmart type of food, Mill Science Diet, of a hydrolyzed food, which has the proteins within the food so broken down that your body doesn't even need to process it. So the vet thought that was going to be the answer. And all of this takes time, you guys. You cannot just, any dog, transition their food like it's nothing. Like, you can't just like throw away the old food and then like take a full scoop of the new food. Like, it's gonna make them sick. So you have to transition their food slowly, like mix in, a few kibbles, and then the next day like a few more and a few more, and then it can take like a week to 2 weeks to correctly transition your dog's food. Then when you're dealing with a dog with freaking stomach issues, you really want to be careful and take your time doing that. And then you need to give a new food about 30 days to make sure like what its effects are going to be and like how it works with your animal. So that goes for a cat as well, but you can't just like transition it because you feel like it. And where she's so sick, we definitely couldn't either. So first we tried the Biljack digestive, and then we tried the prescription Hill Science diet hydrolyzed. Then, you know, we're getting into December and she's good. And so we were thinking like like the third round of metronidazole worked, combined with I'm trying to think what it was at that point, combined with the Biljack. And then shortly into the new year, she was very sick again. So then we switched to the prescription one, the hydrolyzed diet. That plus metronidazole helped for like another 21 days. And all the while, by the way, we got her an x-ray in the fall, an ultrasound, or maybe it was x-ray December, ultrasound January, and then an ultrasound consultation. And this stuff is like adding up, right? Like it's breaking the bank. And we would do it time and time again. Like if I needed to, I would turn some tricks, I would sell some things, and we would get what we needed to get. Like it wouldn't even be I needed to make a GoFundMe or like ask for donation. Like I would do what I needed to do for my girl Cambria. Okay, so let's just get that clear. I'm not resentful. I don't mind or like regret it whatsoever, but it's just like the fact remains, it's draining us financially. Meanwhile, we wanted to buy our first house this year. This item was right near the checkout of Whole Foods, and I was like talking, it's just Belgian butter waffles, and I was talking with the cashier, like, how do you eat yours? Like, do you eat them up in the microwave? Do you use like syrup and butter, peanut butter? And she was like, I just open the package and eat them out of it. And I was like, same, I will also be doing that. And it was like something, I like don't know how to explain this to you guys, but it kind of like hit me that you can do that. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to eat waffles with syrup if you don't want to. You could just eat them raw. Living dangerously. And yeah, it was kind of like a moment where I was like, you could do whatever you want with this life of yours, Elle. At some point before you die, eat a raw waffle. Live a little. It was very freeing. I have anxiety. Did we talk about that? I also got these Alba Botanica Hawaiian 3-in-1 clean towelettes, pore purifying, pineapple enzyme, hypoallergenic makeup remover, plus cleanser, plus toner, plant-based, cruelty-free. Like, what more do you want? It said pore purifying, so I need it. I don't like how big my pores are. I mean, they're not giant, but they're there. And I'm excited to try this. So anyways, guys, the last thing we did was like her $500 ultrasound, and then we had to do a separate $267 appointment for her ultrasound consultation. And I'm just starting to feel like I'm getting taken advantage of. Like, you need to buy me dinner before fuck me, because I don't deserve that. This is the Pacifica Lavender Moon bedtime lip treatment. I love Pacifica. It's a vegan, cruelty-free, smoothing, soothing, and hydrating overnight treatment to help add moisture to dry lips. And this is what it looks like. Very, very pretty. these are the like benefits: smooth, soothe, hydrate with shea, jojoba, and hyaluronic acid. Jojoba. In my head, my whole life, I said jojoba until TikTok. Until about 2020. I was 30. But you guys, I have good news related to Cambria. After the ultrasound consultation, we left with kind of two options, like two final options. Well, three. One, the first that the vet wanted us to try was an anti-parasitic, like 5-day treatment that would cause her to really be going for about 7 to 10 days. That was going to be our first process of elimination to just basically confirm it's not a specific type of parasite that a colonoscopy or endoscopy would not pick up, that like hides in a certain pocket in the middle of your intestines or something. Again, the simulation is wild. I'm not saying that's not real. I'm just saying, like, sometimes when I say things and they come out of my mouth, I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. So we did that. It was 7 to 10 days of hell. She was so sick. She just did not feel good. You could tell she wanted to be left alone and just slept most of that 7 to 10 days, and we were constantly having to let her out in the yard. I mean, it was like every 30 minutes, every 20 to 30 minutes, all day and all night. That did not resolve the issue. Obviously, we kind of pretty much knew it wouldn't, but felt like if we don't do it, will we ever have known? So got that out of the way. Then our next two options, really the two real options, were to switch her food to a prescription high fiber diet. And if that doesn't work, we're gonna have to do a $4,000 endoscopy and colonoscopy. And it's just been a lot. It's been a lot. There's lots of birds flying by my window, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to get distracted. It happens. But yeah, guys, it's been a lot. Like when we left that consultation at the end of January, I think it was January 27th, or 25th. It was the last-ish week of January. And, you know, we felt like we learned a lot. They took their time. We were there like an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours. There so long, Thomas had to leave and go get to work. And it just, like, it was soul crushing to be like, okay, we'll go ahead and pay for the anti-parasitic and do that. Then we will reach out for a prescription. And we did not have a good experience when we called to follow up, and that's just too long of a story. I'll have to tell you in a different video. But basically, we had our appointment with that vet. We waited 7 days. The anti-parasitic was done, and we called to get that prescription for the last ditch food option. He was out on vacay. And he's the only internist there. None of the other vets were willing, or the vet techs, to look at the records and issue us a prescription. They were like, you'll have to wait till he returns to the office. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just be knee deep in liquid shit till then. Don't worry about it. Losing sleep, getting up every hour of the night as if it's a baby type thing. Like, I can't tell you like how little patience I've had lately. And it was just, I kind of felt like, yeah, I bet you would love another $1,000 to $4,000 from us, like $1,000 because of the ultrasound and consultation. It's almost like $900 after tax, but just was It's just kind of like, oh, that's so weird that the vet didn't tell us that. Like, we came up with a very specific treatment plan that was like, call me after 7 days. And like, we don't want to wait like 3 or 4 days till you're back from your fucking vacation because you're the only internist in Charlotte. Must be nice. Maybe communicate that to your patients. Maybe leave the prescription, plan ahead, like give it to us then if you know you'll be on vacation and you know we're gonna want to try it next. Utter horseshit and unacceptable. This is so pretty. It's like the color of your lips. I don't want to mess it up, but we gotta try it. We gotta do a little swatch. How pretty is that? And it's got like moons and stars, moons and stars. It's got like moons and stars. Anyway, our general vet really like took care of us. I'm so good at this, you guys. And stepped up and wrote us a prescription. Like barely got a tinge of pink. It's slightly sticky, but in like a lip mask way. Kind of just feels like Vaseline, but less oily. It's nice. Very nice. Now I just gotta like remember to love myself enough to put it on before bed and actually use it. Oh. Got 2 more items from Whole Foods and then the really cute cinema roll plushie. This was also at the checkout area and it's a coloring, an adult coloring book called Cat Farts. And it is volume 8, which is my lucky number. So, I know it's backwards, but that says better in than out. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but like, I love fart jokes so much. It's probably my favorite. It's top tier comedy to me. Yeah, but anyways, it's just exhausted us to be dealing with this and like having to take time to be like, okay, really no one there can give us a prescription, and like dealing with the bitch receptionists that don't care, putting me on hold, going and like chatting and coming back and being like, yeah, no, we're just not willing to do that until he returns from vacation. Wouldn't give me a copy of our full file because our file was marked by the vet, by the internist before he left for vacation as pending, as incomplete notes. So they certainly can't provide that to me before he gets back from vacation and finishes his notes. And I'm like, what are we paying you for? What are we paying you for? Is this extortion? Like, at what point do I get the benefit of all of this money I'm giving you guys? I'm not saying you can like snap your fingers and make my dog better and like just know the issue, but you can't give me a fucking copy of my 2 different appointments notes, like proof that it happened and like what the detailed notes are. No notes related to the ultrasound. I'm just like, what? Like, do better. Do so much better. Hire a second internist. That one retire or like figure something out, because it really has been a lot of work to make people do what I feel is like the basics of a level of care. And I say that as a fucking professional myself, like someone that has to do continuing education, pay for multiple licensures at the county, state, and local level. Like, I'm not trying to say other people don't have integrity and like aren't bound to stuff. Like any profession, you know, you should take pride in your job, be ethical and kind and have integrity, but it just like blows my mind. Like, I'm like, you're really out here just doing whatever the fuck you want. It blows my mind. The good news is that we called Foster, which is our general vet, and we received the prescription we needed from them. Oh my gosh, there's one with horses. I need that. You can even write your name in it. But yeah, you guys, we just got that prescription like January 30th or so. January 30th or 31st. Oh my god, he's in a suitcase. So big shout out to Foster for doing that for us. And like, what they were like, what, like, it's hard? Yeah, come by and we'll write your prescription right now. You don't have to be an internal medicine specialist with extra education and specialization beyond regular veterinary school to write a prescription for prescription dog food. Like, and the techs and other vets that were there that day weren't willing to do it because it wasn't evident from the vet's notes which prescription dog food. Okay, there's 2 brands, Royal Canin and Hill Science Diet. And like, as you would assume, it was always going to be left up to us which one we were willing to purchase for our baby. But our animal, I mean, like, that's how it works. It's not like the vet will only write you for the one that they first learned about in law school. I mean, like, they were just like making it this whole thing it didn't need to be, and delaying the next steps in her care plan that they wrote for us just days before. So, long story short, we got the high fiber prescription food. So we've tried digestive, we've tried hydrolyzed, and now we're trying like the high fiber food possible. Like, it's literally prescription because it's a controlled substance. So weird to me, but she immediately seemed to like that food a lot better, which was such a relief. She seemed okay. So we then had to, from the end of January, slowly transition her to the high fiber food, which we just finished doing a couple days ago. And she seems to be doing better. I'm so sorry, I'll make this really quick, but I know you guys are also like mature and loving and you get where I'm coming from, but like, her stool is thickening up a little bit, so it's good news all around. It's not looking exactly healthy yet or resolved. Without going into too many details, it fluctuates, but overall seems to be getting resolved and better. So we're very, very hopeful that this has been the solution, that she will be okay from here on out. I mean, the needing to go outside is really greatly reduced. She's making it, as long as we take her out at about 11, 12, and then 2 a.m., she will make it from 2 a.m. to about 8 a.m., which is huge. It's freaking huge. Instead of being up every hour on the hour. So I just am very, very tentatively hopeful that this is the solution and that we will not have to pay for the $4,000 endoscopy and colonoscopy. That would literally change the course of our year, I fear, and just not be something that was doable for us. So this is the last item I got from Whole Foods. It was up at the counter, the checkout counter, and it's damn and $19 for no reason, but it's just super cute. Like, it's smaller than I would like it to be, but as far as quality of a teddy, it's cute. Like that is picking up so cute. And like the fur color, the red bow. I saw it and I was like, you know what? I kind of want that. And I walked away from it. And I was like, bitch, it's your birthday. Go back and get it. And then I literally got the purple one at Target too. So cute. Okay. I will show you the cinema roll. That and paying off the credit card are really my main birthday gifts, because the credit card was, you know, money to pay off. And cinema roll over here was $120. Okay. No, I'm not proud. No, I don't want to talk about it. And no, I don't want to be judged. It was my birthday plushie, and I love it very much. And if you love me, you should love it too. $129.99. It's not even as big as I thought it was. Like, I remembered it being gigantic in my mind. But let me take it out of this fucking plastic bag they sold it to me in. Hang on one sec. The intrusive thoughts are like, slam your makeup covered face against it and nuzzle it. And then they're also like, that's what you're gonna do on accident because you're a dumbass. Don't do it, you know. It is a Sanrio license by Sanrio Korea. And yeah, here is the tag if anybody wants to see it. Now, Thomas and I did not want to buy this. We did not want to pay $129 for a cinema roll plushie. Like, we didn't want to. And they also had Kuromi and, trying to remember, I think they just had this one, Kuromi and Hello Kitty. No, they had this one, Kuromi and My Melody. And they had two My Melodies, I think. And then just this one, and then the one Kuromi. And I remember when I saw them, I was like, that is so well made, so cute. It's holding its own little teddy bear, and it is a teddy bear. I know that that's like licensed and that that's straight like from Korea, or like I knew when I saw it, it looks like a high quality plushie that I see in people's TikToks, and I knew it wasn't made in America. Like I just fucking knew it. I was like, this is something that looks like it was either from like a fancy plushie shop, or like a claw machine or something cool. And then Thomas asked them to get it down and show it to us, and we like shit at the price, and then also saw that it said Korea, and we were like, yeah, they've ordered this, and it's not something like we're gonna be able to find somewhere else unless that store has also sourced it from Korea. So we were like, whatever, we're pretty research savvy, let's just like continue around the mall, continue our day, and I'm sure we'll find it on like Amazon or eBay or something, or Mercari or Poshmark. No, we spent more time than either of us would have liked looking for this on Google, and we couldn't find anything similar whatsoever. We were searching, and like he had taken a stealth picture of the tag. We were searching the numbers on the tag. We were searching everything, and we could not find it. And I wanted it so bad, and I knew I was gonna sell out that day because it was like 1 p.m. on a Sunday at the mall. I did go back the very next day to get another plushie. Another giant bear. And to get like my little rewards points for this purchase because they forgot to give them to me. But the Kuromi, the Do My Melodies, everything was gone. everything was gone. And that was less than 24 hours later. So yeah, I knew that it was nice quality, something that I couldn't get anywhere else, and that it was going to sell out because it's so close to Valentine's Day and Easter, and just, is this not the cutest vibe you've ever seen? So we cracked and we bought it, and this is like my main birthday gift, and very cute and very special to me, and I'm the proud owner. I wouldn't even know how to order the Kuromi one to match it if I tried, because you can't find it anywhere. But if you can, let me know. But you guys, cinnamon roll is going to help me tell you a few more quick updates. Aside from Cambria seeming to be doing better on her food, my aunt died, and my aunt on my dad's side of the family, so it was my dad's sister. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about that. It's been really hard for a few reasons, and hopefully get some advice from you, but also just share this experience so that you know you're not alone if you ever have to deal with anything like this. Well, I'll just be honest. My mom and I are not talking right now because she didn't tell me about my aunt's funeral. I'm so used to only posting what she wants me to post, and like only telling and talking about what she wants me to my whole life, and I'm not going to do that anymore. It's really important to me to not curate myself on behalf of my mother, and I do also want to just put the general statement and disclaim, I love my mom forever, always, would die for her, would do anything for her. You guys know I lived with her for a little bit and took care of her when she fell and broke her leg last spring, and for it to be like almost a year since that happened, it's kind of crazy to me. But I just want to say, like, you can have a difficult relationship with a parent that you feel doesn't validate your feelings or love you in the way you want to be loved, and you can still know that they love you endlessly, and that you love them endlessly, because that's one of the weird things about this life and this existence is family and these invisible ties and strings and webs directly from your heart to theirs, and it can make things so much more difficult for the same reasons in those relationships. But ultimately, yeah, you guys, I love my mom. I don't want to speak ill of her, and I'm not going to be speaking ill of her. What I'm telling you is just a fact. It's a simple fact that my dad's sister died. That was my aunt, and my mom did not tell me about the funeral or invite me to the funeral. And that's been kind of like an ongoing theme in my life, is that she'll try to protect me from death by like not exposing me to it, not telling me about it, and like waiting until she has a chance to process it, or like feels like she's in a place where she can share that with me. That's happened with, for example, my cat Biscuit that I got when I was like 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old. Had him my whole life, moved away to college. His health started to decline. And I was coming in pretty frequently, like every other weekend my freshman year, and got home, and like my mom was like waiting in the driveway when I pulled in and was like, come here, and like enveloped me in a hug. And I can't remember if we were like still hugging or pulling away from the hug, but it's like I don't even have my bags inside. I'm not even through the front door, and she's like, we're gonna have to take a Biscuit to his appointment tomorrow morning to euthanize him. It's his time. He's just not doing well anymore. And it's like, I I get from your perspective, you were letting me like get home safely on the 6.5 hour drive from college, and that you haven't want to, like, you didn't want to disrupt my studies or like make me sacrifice a grade by being distracted or something. But it's just like, that's not life. That's not feeling emotions and like communicating. It's not like basic levels of communication. If you buy me a cat that is mine when I'm 5 or 6 years old, and then I don't get to get any heads up other than like 8 p.m. the night before, so less than 12 hours, that he's got to be euthanized. Like, I could have taken a week off school, strategized which classes I missed, told my professors, and they would have understood all kinds of shit. That when I look back on that, I was mad then. Like, I was mad. I was like, why did you not tell me this? But now 33-year-old me is like, you fucked with the wrong one. Just unacceptable to do that to somebody. It's also happened with other sort of extended family members, or family members that maybe didn't have a funeral. So for example, the height of the pandemic, you guys know my dad's best friend Rick, who was really special to me in the years after my dad's death, and a father figure, died unexpectedly and did not have a funeral service because he was not religious and didn't want that. So there was nothing for me to go to that I missed, but she did tell me about it days after it happened. Then there was my dad's cousin, Dennis, who I believe died a few months ago now. It still feels pretty recent, but I actually think it was like 3-ish months ago now. He had cancer for a while and fought and was just so strong and wonderful. And this wasn't someone that was like heavily in my life. I mean, I would see him here and there, maybe like twice a year type of thing, but you know, obviously I loved him, and he was someone that was part of my life and part of my dad's side of the family. And he did have a service, and it was kind of one of those things that I would have loved to have gone, but I also wouldn't have necessarily, like, you probably have a lot of people like that in your life that you won't be able to believe it and will be so sad and miss them when they are no longer with us. But if you were 4 hours out of state, 4 hours away, you know, maybe you wouldn't be able to get to their funeral. Maybe you just wouldn't be able to make it happen. And that happens sometimes with family with us. Like, I mean, Kristen, Ricky's daughter, is really the one who told me about Ricky dying, my nanny. I think my mom would have told me about that one, regardless of if other people were or weren't. But I don't know. That one I knew about from various people immediately. What am I trying to say? What do I want to share with you from my heart? I'm really hurt that it's literally my dad's sister, someone I saw every Christmas day and spent all day, you know, on holidays and Thanksgiving dinners, and had sleepovers to watch scary movies with growing up. My Aunt Marge is who I watched Blair Witch Project with, and we actually rented it from Blockbuster. And I don't know if you guys know this, because it just would never happen in this highly connected, app-oriented internet age, but people did not have a lot of exposure to found footage films, and when Blair Witch Project came out, a a lot of people, including me and my aunt that rented it and watched it, thought it was a documentary. Like, we thought that shit was real. And so I have, and there's like a point at the end of Blair Witch Project 2 where you like think it's over and it ends, but then it didn't. Almost peed my pants, but I have beautiful memories having sleepovers with her, looking for four-leaf clovers. She could find a four-leaf clover in about 30 seconds to a minute, anytime, anywhere, like truly. And so I did want to share a couple memories and things like that with you, but also things that I guess what I'm trying to say is my Aunt Marge had dementia for the last 15 years, but that's not how my family framed it or communicated it to me. Like, I can remember when it first started, like looking back, it first started, and my mom would like low-key shit talk her and be like, your Aunt Marge is just weird. Like, she's always been like this, always, but it's really starting to show in her old age. She's just a weird bird, an odd bird. That's Southern people speak for there could be a mental illness, but we're gonna sweep that under the rug. And I have to share that with you guys because basically here's what happened. I called my mom to check in with her and update her on Cambria not doing well, and asked her what she was doing, how's her day going. She told me that, you know, I'm getting ready right now for a really hard moment, and it's, you know, Marge died, and so Gene and I, that's my mom's boyfriend, are getting ready to go to her funeral, you know. As if that's totally normal. And I do feel like that's weird. I feel like that's thoughtless and mean. And yeah, I was just like, what do you mean? Her funeral's right now? And she was like, yeah, in an hour. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me so that Thomas and I could come? And she was like, oh, well, I know you're dealing. So at first she told me it was because she knew I was dealing with Cambria and that we were really, really tired and that we shouldn't have to stop our lives and add on the extra stress of having to drive in for a funeral. Then it changed over the course of the phone conversation and in a text message thereafter. That's Belle. She's like, feed me dinner, bitch. It changed to not only am I busy with Cambria, but Aunt Marge and I weren't close for the last 15 years. I did everything I could, you guys, from being long distance and for all but like the last 2 or 3 years, it being actually called dementia to me by my mom and family. Like, I would be like, Mom, why did Marge not come to our wedding? She didn't even respond to the RSVP. She's not responding to my phone calls. She's not responding to my postcard. Like, the fuck? You know, like, I was very hurt by that. My mom would be like, you know, honey, she's just getting older and she's very finicky and like weird and specific about stuff. Like, she doesn't know if a place is going to be too cold or too hot for her. And it's just getting hard for her, you know, type of thing. It was never like, well, she has dementia and she probably doesn't know who this letter is about or who this invitation is about. Like, turmoil in my heart, just so hurt, and like feeling like this woman who had played an important role in my life, that I'd had like all these sweet moments with, that you would have with an aunt, just didn't give a fuck about me anymore. And no one was like, this is really concerning, like, let's do something, like, let's get a doctor out there and get an evaluation situation, or like it was just my mom would go by and check on her when she could, take her to dinner when she could, and was basically telling me, your Aunt March has always been kind of weird, and kind of embarrasses us about a lot of things, so this is just part of that vibe, and that's who she is. So a couple of you have left me comments on other videos. I know this has been the longest video of life, and you may not even get to this point, and that's fine, but a couple of you have let me know that you have complicated relationships with your mothers, and I also know a few of you have lost your moms and had wonderful relationships with them, and I just want to send you my heart and my love and my condolences, and I feel very lucky to have a mom to disagree with. I really do, and I stand by what I said at the beginning of this section of the story time. It's just I love her. I love her endlessly. I love her forever. But I also am becoming my own woman and developing my own morals and boundaries and, so to speak, rules of how I want to live my life and what I expect in my relationships and how I want to be treated and that sort of thing. And, at first on the phone, she was very apologetic and telling me, I'm so sorry, I didn't think about that. And I just said, it's really not for you to think about. I'm not your little doll, your little puppet. It's my life, and I deserve to make that choice for myself. And, I just deserve to be given the information, and then if I can make it in, with work, with Cambria being sick, whatever I'm dealing with, that's for me to decide. And she kind of she was I see what, I hear you, I see what you're saying, type of thing. And as the day went on, it just really hurt me, because there was still some bits of the conversation where, even when she was saying, right, sure, but, you're out of state and you're dealing with a lot, and it's just I never felt fully heard, nor did I feel like there was that base level of trust there in our relationship anymore, that I could just go back to my life out of state and trust that I would be told when my next relative dies. I'm gonna have to get a newspaper subscription to keep on top of all of that stuff. And also, shock and grief set in, because you can not have had a close relationship with someone for 10 years and still grieve them when they die, especially in a situation where there's dementia or something at play. Anyway, the day went on, and I was just broken. I was crying all day. I could be staring at the sky, trying to have a moment where I'm not crying, and just tears running. Just realizing that the only living person on my dad's side of the family now is technically me, in the immediate or immediate extended family. My aunt is dead. Her husband was not related by blood to my dad, but he died a year after my dad did, and my dad's parents died when I was 13 and 5, so just with them being older side of the family, they're not here anymore now, and it's the end of an era. It's realizing that that time with Aunt Marge is actually never coming back, even though I feel like I already realized that. It's just more, I don't know. I felt like, you know, I was starting to grieve that she was actually gone, and then also grieve that I wasn't like enough of a family member to be included. You know, I don't have siblings, and my parents always like did things really separate. There weren't a lot of like joint celebrations with sides of the family. Like, it was like, if we're going over to my mom's brother's house to exchange Christmas gifts, like, that's what we're gonna go do. Why would we invite my Aunt Marge there? Like, she'll come over on Christmas Day. We'll do this the day before, the day after Christmas. Like, it was all very separate. So would my uncle on my mom's side's kids know that Marge died? No. So they wouldn't know to text me about it. Even though they would text me about it if I asked them, they just wouldn't have any way of knowing, because it's not like my mom would tell her brother. Very kind of like weird and rigid and strict and Southern family dynamics. But yeah, I don't have anybody to tell me about this kind of stuff back home, and it's really fucked me up mentally. And that happened about a week ago, and that was really when I was planning on getting back into filming. And like, because we've had a lot of rain and not a lot of construction work progress, but I just kind of had to take care of myself and play Disney Dreamlight Valley and Hogwarts Legacy and go to therapy. And I'm really proud of myself for taking care of myself, grieving, that sort of thing. And I'm just going to be over here trying to figure it out, and like what my relationship dynamic should be going forward. It's really tough because it's kind of the vibe of my mom and a lot of her friends to invalidate me. You know, like they'll be like, yeah, she should have told you. She definitely should have told you. But then in the same breath be like, but you know, Elle, your mom's 70. We're not perfect. We're all just humans getting older, and we can't do as good as we used to just do. And it's like, what? So a lot of stuff like that. Like, I got a birthday card that was like, happy birthday, Elle, I hope you have forgiven your mother, from one of her friends. And I want to be accepted, and my feelings matter, and not be swept under the rug. And like, is it comfortable to explain to me why you didn't actually invite me, or to like sit in that? Probably not, but that's like a ritual that I missed that will forever fuck up my mental health. And it has nothing to do with whether we were close the last 10 to 15 years of Marge's life. It has everything to do with, since time immemorial, funerals are a ritual that help the living people left behind grieve. And my mom knows I'm not religious. I don't know if that had something to do with it too, but like, I always am respectful during those times. I'll sing the hymn. Sorry. I sing the hymn. Sorry. I bow my head during the prayer. I sing the hymn. I try to manifest whatever we're praying about. Like, I would never, ever be disrespectful of anyone's religion at a funeral. Yeah, guys, I don't know what to say. I definitely didn't plan on crying in this video. had a wonderful birthday, and I've had a really good couple of days trying to process this. But it's going to have lasting, and already does have lasting hurt behind it because of so many things. It makes me feel like not my own separate person. Like my mom thinks if she's there, then I'm there. It took away that opportunity for me to see my aunt dead, and our human minds need that. Some people need that. Some people have to see that, and my heart goes out to people whose loved ones are not in a condition for them to see them one last time. But if you have that opportunity, that's one of the reasons you have the service before the burial, the funeral. Really, I don't know, there's something to laying a hand on a dead loved one's hand or kissing their forehead and hurting in that moment and like seeing that they're not in there anymore. There are just so many little aspects of funeral services and burials that help our mind know that that person is gone and to try to grieve. It really hurts me because I know if my dad was alive, I would have been told. Period. That's why it hurts me. My mom went with her boyfriend and felt like that was representing the family. And to me, that feels like my dad wasn't there to represent his sister. And I feel very strongly that my dad is with me and in me and a part of me because he was my dad, but also my blood. And, like he and my mom aren't blood. I'm not trying to get into all the fucking mechanics of family. You can have family that's found and not blood and all this stuff, and it can be better than blood family. Like, they'll invite you to funerals, but yeah, I felt like I should be there, and that my dad would want me there, and I feel like that's just a duh. That's just obvious. That's just a given. So, I'm really sorry, you guys, but I really appreciate you if you have the space to like make it this far in the video, and if you've stuck with me, thank you. I really needed to vent about this, and I really appreciate it. I've missed you guys so much. I can't tell you how tired and hopeless the Cambria thing has made me, because it feels like you have a not chronically ill child, but Cambria is my child, and she's constantly sick and uncomfortable and run down and not herself, and it has been a lot. Like, it's taken my spark away, and it's okay. Like, it'll come back. But really, the big thing this past week that has hurt me so much has been the funeral thing. And it's kind of shown me, like, at the older you get in life, like, how alone it can feel sometimes. Because truly, who would have told me, like, one of my mom's friends said, I would have most certainly told you, but I didn't think to ask her when she told me an hour after she got the news. She called me and told me. I wouldn't think in that moment to be like, I'm so sorry. And does Elle know about this? And it's like, yeah, I wouldn't. How weird, like no one would ever think to ask that or like check on that. And I feel like there's a little bit of a vibe from a small town when you move away that's like, oh, well, you weren't here because you moved away, you know, like, we stayed. And I just don't think when it comes to like genuine unconditional love that should ever be the case, or the vibe that you treat somebody with. You guys, I am not going to be a perfect parent if I'm ever lucky enough to be a parent. But you have to, if you're a parent, please validate your children's feelings and talk with them about their feelings. And if they say that you hurt their feelings or made them feel a certain way, have the big enough heart to explore that. You don't have to agree ultimately, but just have the space and the care about their individuality to hear them on that, instead of interrupting them or saying like, you know, like excuses or you know, that you didn't make them feel that way, they made themselves feel that way. Like, please just listen to them and be open to the harder conversations. Be open to having like deeply hurt them, instead of just always this vibe of like, I'm an amazing parent, I do the best I can, I made the right decision in this instance always. Because over time you will create a really raw, open wound that can never fully heal, because that child will eventually grow up, and at some point, I hope for them, whether it's 33 or whenever, learn that it doesn't have to be that way. And why should it have to be? And they won't tolerate that anymore. As much as it hurts them, they, you know, will have to question what rearranging that relationship looks like so it's healthy and not hurtful for them means, and do that. And that's really where I am. I love my mom very much. I don't feel like she sees me as my own person, or ultimately really cares about my feelings or who I truly am as my own individual person. Yeah, so daddy and mommy issues. Nice. I'm gonna have to delete my kidney in addition to 7 apps, probably even my Chrome and my text messages app, to edit and export this video. I don't know that it's been comforting to you. I would wager a no, a big fat fucking nor. But if you can relate at all, please, I would love to connect with you down below. And just thanks for hearing me and hanging out with me. I don't want everybody to think I had a bad birthday, because I had actually my favorite birthday yet. And it was a really perfect day with Thomas. Oh my God. Once she's going, she's going. She's like the Energizer Bunny, but in an Aquarius. It's just a time in my life when I'm realizing, like, I'm so grateful for Thomas and for his love. And he's my best friend, and he treated me to a wonderful birthday. And I'm so thankful we spent the day together. And it's also, your world can somewhat get smaller. And that's why I'm so thankful for you guys. I'm not trying to be like embarrassing or a loser. I heard from lots of friends, tons of text messages. And I wanted to shout out Riley. Riley is an earthling who literally sent me a birthday card with glitter confetti in it. I've shared my address with a couple of you. this, and I'm very, very grateful. So, Riley, I love you. I love you and your family, and I'll always be here for you. And I just can't tell you how much your card meant. But you guys, I'm 33. I don't even have kids yet, for example. Riley does. A lot of you do. And I do want kids at some point. But I'm a millennial, and these are my plushies. Okay, I've been through enough. But so we'll have to figure out if we share the plushies with the kid or not. But let me know down below. But maybe you guys can like agree or know what I'm talking about without me sounding like a friendless loser. But your circles change and fluctuate, and you get smaller as you get older, and people change or die. Just to be really blunt, like I don't know, you guys. It was my favorite birthday yet, because it's kind of the birthday that I've realized that I am my true best friend. I am my true love of my life. And I am my own individual person and do deserve all the love and empathy that I so freely give to others. Like, if I could give a smidge of that to myself, I could probably like float in the air or something. Like I could accomplish some things, you know, like I just but yeah, it was a wonderful birthday. Life has been kind of crazy all last year, and especially into the late summer, fall, when Cambria got sick. But even before that, with the divorce stuff, my in-laws, and with my mom breaking her leg. And then this year has been a lot too. So I will shut up now, stop rambling. Speaking of the divorce, there's some good news on that front, and it's that it's was finalized. So it's official. I looked up the court record. It's hard. And that's something that's very bittersweet for my family, for my brothers that are Thomas's brothers. And it's the end of an era, so to speak. And we just want everybody to be happy. We want the whole family to be happy, whatever that looks like. And it's been really hard. It's caused some estrangement, some serious boundary setting, some stuff that I haven't talked with you guys yet, and I don't know if I will, just because it's my in-laws, and you know, those guys are my brothers, and also I respect them endlessly. And one of them's married. That's my sister. We don't talk every day, you know, that type of thing, but like those are my siblings that I've always wanted my whole life. And you know, I could share about like how it's affected me, and you know, but ultimately that's Thomas's story, and I've been a supporter in that story, and it has affected me too. You know, those are my parents as well. They're my in-laws, but they're my parents. And anyway, let's just say we all hope that this being finalized is a good thing, and will help us all figure out what future holidays, birthday parties, and things like that look like, and see if we can all you know, because there's been a lot of stuff, drama and pain there. Anyway, some good things, some bad things, some things that are just part. My phone died, so the angle is different. I need to give Thomas's phone back as quickly as possible, because I need to go get some dinner. We need to feed our dogs dinner. Time to start our evening shift of monitoring Cambria and staring at her. because it leaves our butt. Like, what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? Yeah, this has been a wild one. It's been a lot. My hope with this video is not to put any of my stuff that I'm dealing with or learning about on you, and to literally connect with you. To talk about how I'm working on my soul aesthetic and just myself, and it never fails that I can connect and relate with you guys, and I live for that and for your guys' comments, like, as much as, like, I also live for when you guys are like, slay queen, your makeup, yay. Like, I don't have to stop doing that by any means, but the comments on, like, the videos where I actually get pretty open with you guys and talk about mental health or, like, life stuff are when I feel the least alone and feel so full and, like, so connected to the world and to you guys. I mean, sharing and connecting and helping each other feel less alone and learn and grow is, again, truly what I believe we're here to do. Like, everything else is just for funsies. Like, you know, the plushie collection is super fun but optional. But yeah, I love you guys very much. I appreciate your time. My hope is that with tomorrow being Sunday, I can actually get a few short videos filmed. I have so many hauls I want to share with you. My Hot Topic Hot Cash, Target Valentine's haul, a giant book haul, TJ Maxx Valentine's haul, and a thrift haul. You guys, I'm literally looking at the bags on my floor. We gotta get it going. We gotta get this cleaned up. So stay tuned. Lots of good stuff coming. I know I said I would try to have like the Patreon and this sort of thing by my birthday, and I don't. Hope you understand. Until next time.